Welcome back to part 3 of disassembly and fabrication. Last time we chatted, I had put in the battery tray underneath here. I have that out now because we're mounting up the components from the plywood tray. You can see it's empty of that. There's only a couple more things left to come off, those little pulleys. That's for lifting it up into position and making good progress over here on getting these things mounted up. First of all, here on the batteries, those are 3D printed battery hold downs out of ABS plastic on my 3D printer. I've got one on either side. They do a really nice job of holding those batteries in position and down, nice and steady. Been mounting up and optimizing some of the wiring in here. Added this resettable fuse. It's a thermal fuse that goes between the battery isolator and the battery, so that when it does kick over, it if it were to have a high amperage event, it protects the system rather than burning up a wire. We've got that stud mounted there. Got these little studs put in here. Those are actually bolts, threaded aluminum plate to bolt thread in from the underneath. Solenoid, that's for the air compressor system, for both air compressors there. They still need to be mounted yet. That's also stud mounted. And the reason why I stud mount stuff on this plate is to make it easier to service in the future if necessary. When this tray drops down from underneath, you really only have access to the top here. It's difficult to reach underneath. So future looking, making it easy for the guy who might have to do any service underneath there. Like I said, I've got these studs there. That's for the air tank. I put on these angles. Again, these holes that were there, really difficult to reach if you had to put the air tank on or take it off. So I screwed on these angles on the outside. Makes it much easier to get to those things. So that sits right down here on those 4 studs. I need to drill a hole right there. That's for the drain on the tank. Water does get in air in these air tanks over time, and it's good practice to drain them out. This does appear to be a stainless steel tank, so rust is less of a concern, but over time you do want to drain that water out. I did pour out quite a puddle out of it from the amount that it's run already. So I'm going to keep working here. Next thing here, I got to mount this little turn block and then continue on with the air compressors and get those stud mounted, and then the little pulley system will be next. So continuing to work here on this battery tray. Alright, I've got everything mounted onto the new aluminum battery tray. A lot of work over here on this side. There's the pulleys for the cable that lifts this whole thing up into the unit. So this is the pulley for going up. That pulley takes it over to the other side. Another pulley there, and then this one to go back up. On the other side, both dual air compressors are mounted, stud mounted again to the plate there. Per air compressor, there's 16 washers, 8 nuts, 4 bolts. Also got the little turn block mounted there on a nice little plate. And so next thing here is we're going to take battery tray, put it into the track chair, and just make sure that everything still fits and works how it should. Measure twice, cut once. Old adage. Hopefully it all works out here. Measured quite a bit, and we're going to see if it's going to fit. And then of course after I get it put in, then I have to take it back out. Take this apart because this steel frame here, angles and tubes, it needs some welding and it'll get powder coated, so it's got to come apart. I don't know that I'll get to that here this weekend. Time's about up, but we're gonna get this thing in and see how it fits. Alright, I took the batteries out for weight, got it onto the lift cart, and now we're wheeling it into position so that these 4-bar linkage arms, those are going to connect here and right there. Then we can take the cart out and then lift it up into position. Alright, I got the tray hooked onto the 4-bar linkage now, and so it's you can see that's how it'll swing up in there. I'm going to connect that lift cable there, and you can't really see it on the video. That little cable there goes up into this ratchet up here. That's what lifts this tray up into place. I'm going to get that connected on, put the batteries on there, and then we'll lift it up into position to see how it all fits up in there. Alright, batteries in. I've got the cable hooked up that lifts it up in. Like I said, that goes to this little ratchet right here. Long extension with a ratchet. Goes right on there. And then it's just a simple matter of cranking. And you can see the tray start to go up and in there. So I'm going to shut the camera back off so I can crank and inspect, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's up in there. Alright, I got the battery tray all lifted up into position, and some security bolts on the back here put in. They hold it up permanently, and then there's 2 threaded rods that normally would bolt in and hold it. I don't have those on, so I just use this jack right there at the front to hold it. It fits up really nice in there. I put a light inside here, and we'll see if we can get a clear shot here. Hard to see, but it's close, but everything fits. We'll go around to the front side. There's a little bit better shot there. Coming in the front side of the track chair here, zooming in. Normally this is where the emergency brake actuator goes. With that out of the way, you can see a little bit better. Clearance above the air compressor head to the frame. Plenty of clearance over the battery there. That's the air tank. Yep, clearance there. And over to the, hard to see because I got some extra wires just wrapped in there, but there's plenty of clearance there. Clearance above that air compressor. And you can see that. There's the pulleys that and cable that lifted it up into position, and there we go. So that's it for me for this round. It was more fabrication than it was disassembly. Next time we'll take that out, tear that down, and then gonna proceed with the rest of this. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe if you would, please, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.